The Jewish story. This week's story from the Holocaust is taken from the book Still Alive, a Holocaust Girlhood Remembered, written by Ruth Kluger. If I look at a map today, I see that the distance from Theresienstadt to Auschwitz is not very great. Yet it was the longest I have ever taken. The train stood around. It was summer. The temperature rose. The still air smelled of sweat, urine, excrement. A whiff of panic trembled in the air. It's from this experience that I think I have an idea of what it must have been like in the gas chambers. The feeling of having been abandoned, which is not the same as having been forgotten. We knew we hadn't been forgotten. We knew we hadn't been forgotten because the railroad car stood on rails, had a direction, would arrive. But abandoned in the sense of discarded, separated, trashed, and tossed in an old crate, like last birthday's worn-out toys. An old woman who sat next to my mother gradually fell apart. First she cried and whimpered, and I grew impatient and angry with her, because here she was adding her private disintegration to the great evil of our collective helplessness. A defense reaction. I could not face or assimilate the reality of a grown-up losing her mind before my eyes. Finally, this woman pushed herself onto my mother's lap and urinated. I still see the tense look of revulsion on my mother's face in the slanting twilight of the car, and how she gently pushed the woman from her lap, not brutally and without malice. At that moment, my mother became a role model for me, which she generally was not. It was a pragmatic, humane gesture, like a nurse might employ to free herself from a clinging patient. I thought my mother should have been indignant, but for her the situation was beyond anger and outrage. Please pass on this story.